August 18th, 1969. Woodstock was supposed to be over. Hundreds of thousands of exhausted concertgoers had already begun their journey home. The muddy fields that had held nearly 500,000 people for 3 unforgettable days were slowly emptying. But one performer still hadn't taken the stage. His name was Jimi Hendrix. What happened over the next 2 hours would become one of the most iconic performances in music history, and one song, lasting just a few minutes, would spark debate that continues more than half a century later. This wasn't just music. For many, it became the sound of a generation trying to understand itself. Woodstock had been planned as a 3-day celebration of peace, love, and music. Instead, it became something far bigger. Massive crowds overwhelmed the organizers. Rain turned the farmland into a sea of mud. Performances ran behind schedule, equipment failed, and artists played at completely different times than originally planned. By the time Hendrix was scheduled to appear, it was no longer Sunday night. It was Monday morning. Many of the hundreds of thousands who had arrived for the festival had already gone home, returning to work, school, or simply escaping the chaos. Only a fraction of the original audience remained. But those who stayed were about to witness history. To understand what happened that morning, you have to understand America in 1969. The Vietnam War dominated television screens every evening. Young Americans were being drafted into military service. Protests filled city streets. Families argued over politics, patriotism, and the future of the country. The nation felt divided in ways few had ever experienced. Music became more than entertainment. It became a voice. And few voices spoke louder than Jimi Hendrix's guitar. Although Hendrix had served in the U.S. Army years earlier, he wasn't interested in making political speeches from a stage. Instead, he let his music speak for itself. Near the end of his set, Hendrix stepped toward the microphone. Then came the opening notes of the Star-Spangled Banner. At first, it sounded familiar, respectful, almost traditional. But within moments, everything changed. His guitar began producing sounds unlike anything most audiences had ever heard. Sharp bursts echoed like explosions. Long, piercing notes resembled air raid sirens. Rapid feedback suggested the terrifying chaos of battle. Without saying a single word, Hendrix transformed America's national anthem into something deeply emotional and impossible to ignore. Some listeners heard patriotism, others heard protest. Many heard both. That ambiguity is exactly why the performance has endured. Hendrix never told the audience what to think. He simply played, and everyone listening brought their own interpretation. In later interviews, Hendrix explained that he still considered the anthem beautiful. He wasn't mocking it. He wasn't trying to destroy it. He was expressing what America sounded like at that moment in history. The screaming notes reflected a country at war. The quieter passages hinted at hope. And when the melody finally returned, it carried a weight that few performances of the anthem had ever achieved. What lasted only a few minutes became one of the defining musical statements of the 20th century. Not because everyone agreed with it, but because almost no one could forget it. More than 50 years later, musicians still study that performance. Historians still debate its meaning. Fans still discover it for the first time. Jimi Hendrix didn't deliver a speech that morning. He didn't wave a sign. He simply picked up a guitar. And with one unforgettable interpretation of the Star-Spangled Banner, he captured the sound of a nation wrestling with itself. Some performances entertain. A very few become part of history. This was one of them. If you enjoyed this video, please like, comment, and subscribe to Site Theo. It certainly helps the channel.